Hey everybody, this will be a quick video explaining some things about gear and their attributes. So there are four main attributes your gear has, two of them offensive and two of them defensive. Your offensive stats are attack and minus foe life, and your defensive stats are life and minus foe attack. There's also attributes such as load capacity and speed, but they're not important and you shouldn't try to get them on your gear because they're totally useless. So now you're thinking, well, that's great, but how do I know when to use which attributes? Well, that's simple, because when you're fighting large opponents, you want to use offensive gear. So attack and minus foe life, get as much of it as possible when attacking, because then you'll do the most damage possible. But when fighting a much smaller opponent, use defensive gear, because you want to defend your entire army, basically. And in campaign, also focus strictly on defensive gear. Hold on. So over here. So the best attacking gear first is the Necromantic set that just came out. So that's items such as the Sanctuary. That's the only one I know by name. The Shield. And that's basically all it is minus foe life and minus foe attack, but with a lot more minus foe life. And that's currently the best in the game for attacking. Mystic is right behind it. It has a lot of minus foe life as well. Then replenishing and void comes kind of close behind it. Replenishing is actually fairly good for attacking. It has some base attack for all troops. And the Void Shield is also good, but basically if you have these items, use as many of them from the top of the list as possible. So like, if you have Necromantic, use it, but where you don't have Necromantic, use Mystic. Where you don't have Mystic, use Replenishing or Void, and where you don't have that, use War Torn. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And then for defending, you're going to want to use Replenishing if you have it, but you don't want to use the full set, only usually 3 or 4 pieces of it, and then include a Void Sword and Cloak if you can, or one of the other. And the reason of this is because of this thing called Diminishing Returns, which I'll explain in just a minute. Then the second best would be Necromantic, just because of its huge debuffs, and then Arcane and Elder Gear is also somewhat useful, but should be avoided. It's basically filler if you don't have anything else. And then after that comes basically the rest of the gear, like Unsung Orc, Filthy Few, etc. So hopefully that gives everyone a pretty good idea of what they should be using. And now I'll explain why not to use things like Arcane. Arcane gear. So if we take a look at Mystic, we see that its minus foe life is effective for all troops. So it debuffs the entire army of your enemies. And the same with like the Sanctuary. It debuffs everything. Ent gear, that's decent for defending. It's effective for all troops, so it buffs your entire army with life. Alright, so we go to Arcane, and so it gives pretty good buffs like attack, life, minus foe life. It seems pretty good, but it's only effective for these specific kinds of troops. So it only buffs you, or only buffs the tier 5 troops of your army, which is kind of useless because personally I never attack with tier 5 because it's kind of a waste. I just attack with tier 1 and tier 3 because you can't build tier 5, so you can't replace it easily. So these seem like they're useful, but really they're not, unless you're using these kinds of troops. And especially with the debuffs, like when you're attacking someone with this, like it's only debuffing their tier 3 troops. But if you're not even hitting their tier 3 troops like yet, if you're hitting someone big who has a lot of tier 1 or stone giants protecting them, it's not even going to be doing anything. Like it's just sitting there useless. So I would try to avoid the specific ones if you can. I know this is on some other gear, like Void has it. But the thing about Void is this foe attack, which is super good for defending. And other things are effective for all troops. And then this one has... Yeah, so see, I mean, these are more useless unless you're using those specific troops. But yeah, it's a minus foe attack that really helps. Oh, and same with Elven Elder, if I can... Oh no, never mind, my other hero is equipping it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh, diminishing returns, so I'll explain what that means. So, okay, say you attack some goblins, and your attack value is 100, and you kill 100 goblins. Now you have 2 items. One increases your attack by 100%, or 100 points, and one reduces the goblin's life by 50%, or half their life. Well, which item do you use? Well, in the first round, it doesn't matter, because applying the attack item doubles your attack, so you kill twice the amount, or 200 goblins. While the life reduce item also results in double the amount of kills. So we apply the attack item, so now your attack is 200, and goblin life is still 1. Again, the question, which item do you apply now? Well, now we see the difference, because if we apply the attack item again, our attack will become 300, and we kill 300 goblins. Not 100%, but 50% more than we did before. But if we apply the life item now, the goblin life is halved, and we kill 400 goblins, which is a 100% increase. So this is why you want to, especially when you're defending right now, with replenishing gear and void gear, it's not effective to only have replenishing gear, because you'll have like a ton of life, but it'll just it doesn't mitigate anything, so you're just like a big like sponge basically, or a wall. But what I like to think the void does is it reinforces that wall. So like this is Elven Warrior, like the biggest dude on the server, and he's using 2 pieces of void, and the rest is replenishing. And that's because it gives him a lot of life, like 200% life, but it also gives him a big debuff. And it's better to have a mixture of the two than one or the other. So that's why, well, at the moment, it's best just to use all Mystic King, or sorry, no. For attacking, it's best just to use all Necromantic or Mystic King, because there's not a strong attacking set that just has attack after that. I'm using War-Torn. I'm not really sure why. Well, I don't really have anything else to replace it with. But it's a good idea to try to mix things up. Excuse me. Like that. Other than if you... Yeah, I wouldn't mix Void and if you can just do all Void, though. Alright, well, I hope most of this made sense. Makes sense to me, but obviously I know what I'm trying to say. So if I'm not being clear, just feel free to message me, or in-game or online, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And I hope this was educational. Alright, have a nice night.